Welcome back to Gasoline and Guns. Sorry for taking so long to get back to you, but I have a new bike to show you. The winter hero of Ohio. This is my new to me, 2009 Yamaha vstar 950. It's in pretty good shape for a year. It's only got like 13,000 miles on it. It's pretty much stock. I've just added these Viking luggage semi-hard bags. They're leather coated plastic, I guess you would say. They don't have integrated locks, but they do support mini padlocks, Velcro, waterproof lining. They got interior pockets on both. They're pretty durable. I don't know. They seem pretty nice so far. Got them hard mounted instead of throwovers. I don't know. I like the cleaner look of it. So it's a real deep black and chrome, as you can see. This is the only problem here is the chrome is chipping on the exhaust tips. And the pipes themselves are fine. It's just the bolt-on tips are pitted a little bit. So I don't know. I'll think about that later. And there's also one other thing. The guy I got this from has this quick detach windshield in the front, but he lost the key for the quick detach, so it's kind of solid. Also, GPS mount. I'll get into that later. I like the heel toe shifter. I've never had one before. It's different. I like it. Another thing I don't like about the bike that I think I might change is this cover here on the left side. It looks like an air cleaner cover, but obviously this bike only has one air filter. That actually just covers the ignition coils, and it's kind of ugly. But the pipes sound good. It's got some Cobras on it. I think they're called like short shots or double shots or something like that. They look good, real simple. I like the way they sound. They're not actually a twin system like that. It's actually a 2-into-1. It's just they have heat shields on them, make it look like just straight pipes. So we're gonna hit the road here. We'll see how she goes. I've only had her out a couple times. Bit of a story about how I got this. Oof. I hate that thing. Don't buy those. Little throttle hand rests. They're garbage. That's exactly how much use I got out of that one. What a waste of $3. They're cheap as hell on Amazon. I wanted a cruise control, or well, a throttle lock, but I can't seem to find one that'll work on this bike. It's not that the handlebar is a weird size or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. The switchgear is kind of too big for the nicer ones, the ones that go mount to the main bar and then bridge the controls. And the throttle is like a single unit, so you can't really slide it and make room for a friction device. So I don't know. I'll figure something out. But anyway, onto the bike itself. So the Magna and the Honda that I had, well, I ended up selling them over winter. Made some decent money on the Magna. I had actually a guy drove in from, let's see, the other side of Toledo to here in Akron, and he drove like 3 hours to come pick up this bike. And I don't know, I guess he had one when he was younger and was having trouble finding a nice V65 that wasn't wrecked or didn't have some kind of huge problem with the transmission or something. And he was perfectly happy to come pay full price and drive 3+ hours truck and trailer to come pick it up. But it's nice. I don't blame it. It was a good bike. I kind of miss it. But and the CX, finally figured out what was wrong with it. I should have never taken the seller's word for it about the carbs. I finally took the carbs apart, and that pilot jet was just, pilot jet was wrecked. So anyway, cleaned that thing out, put it all back together, worked like a charm. It still had the electrical issue, but all that did was, with the cars running properly, the only thing with the electrical was that the temp gauge spiked. But knowing that that was just a secondary rectifier or something like that, it ran fine, and I was able to sell it actually really easily. I think the guy wanted to do like a cafe bike with it. I'm not 100%. He had said he had done a couple cafe Hondas in the past and was just looking for another project. But whatever. So I had this cash in hand. It's the middle of January. Well, it was kind of like the end of January. 30 degrees out in the middle of Ohio winter. I'm poking around on Craigslist trying to find a good deal. Looking at bikes that are old, carbureted. I'd kind of wanted a full size. I was looking at a bunch of like a 01 Roadstar, a couple of 1500 Vulcans. There's 1400 Suzuki Intruder. Bunch of like 1100 Hondas, all V-twin cruisers, full-size bikes. And I stumbled on this. This was listed $3,300 as a private seller, about 30 minutes from where I live. And I thought it was too good to be true, because like I saw it like the day it posted, called the guy. Seemed legit. Set up an appointment to go meet him. Got his address. Went on down. I got there. As it turned out, this guy who had listed this as a private sale bike, it turned out he was actually a used car dealer. And he had gotten this thing at auction off a repo lot or something. And he had all the paperwork, and it was legit. But at the same time, I was a little miffed at him for misleading me about being a private seller. So we were negotiating on price and all that wonderful stuff when he gets a phone call about another guy who's supposed to be coming to buy a car, coming from out of state to buy a bit of a specialty vehicle, a fully restored vintage DSM Eclipse, and I saw it was actually pretty sweet. And so this dude's coming in from New Jersey to pick up this car, and as like the stars aligned perfectly for me, and as this dude like hangs up the phone, he tells his shop attendant to go put some gas in the car, and I swear he drove it like 20 yards and the bead popped off. Flat tire right now. They got like an hour because this dude just got out of the airport at Cleveland Hopkins and is on the way. So they're scrambling to get this together, and I just see opportunity look me square in the eye. He's got to deal with this, but he's got to sell this bike. I'm just like, oh, you're asking price out the door, or I was going to drag it out. I was going to ruin the sale of his car. And he ended up giving it to me for the $3,300 as the out the door price instead of the start price. So I think my actual, what I actually paid for sticker plus before all the tax and fees and everything was like $2,875. I like stole this thing. Yeah, I'm super pleased with it. I will say that it was about 25 degrees that day when I rode it home, so I definitely went about 30 miles in the frozen Ohio tundra on the freeway. That's the very first thing I did on this bike, but I survived. And I'm through the winter. I kind of like this. We're seeing a lot more of this bike. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for watching Gasoline and Guns. Please subscribe and ride safe.